You know, I've always wanted to be a meteorologist, but now I prefer to sit back and watch somebody obviously well more qualified than me to do the job. Hubba, hubba.
Previously on Velma.
You just have to wonder why this show even exists.
The following program contains naughty bits. But before each naughty bit comes on the screen, you'll hear this warning sound. Hotter than this. And more exciting than this.
Oh, hi! Welcome to my new home over here at Indie Mogul. Indie Mogul is the online network dedicated to filmmakers and film fanatics, which is you and me, right?
Thames Television brings you the test card.
I think it's fair to say that by the end of next week, I think that's the last 2 episodes of Velma. I might be wrong, but I'm in danger of getting therapy because this show is so god-awful. I just don't know how to even sit down and break down episodes 3 and 4 for you. But you know what? I'm going to give it my best shot because I'm freezing my ass off in my room. Oh, God. So episode 3 of Velma, it's interesting because we find out that Norville, aka race changed Shaggy, and by the way, I've got to point something out here as well. Norville is his real name. It was revealed in a 1980 episode of a Scooby-Doo reboot, and he uses his name there. Now I think there is a loophole where you can take an existing character and change a couple of things about them so it's not quite the same character that you grew up with as a kid. So that's probably why they're now just overusing the word Norville a lot, because he's not Shaggy, he's Norville. And oh, bloody hell, jeez. Episode 3 is probably one of the most retarded things I've actually seen. We get this lecture from Velma about that we shouldn't judge celebrities because we're plebs, they're high in the sky, and they're famous, they got the goods, but we dare not talk or debate their sexuality because it's wrong. It's wrong, I tell you. And in the meantime, Norville has, well, we see his father, who's a white dude who looks a bit like Rhys Darby from Flight of the Conchords, who's voiced by Gary Cole. Yeah, Midnight Caller, Bill Lumbergh is voicing Lamont.
Peter, what's happening? Could you give me those TPS reports ASAP? Okay.
He's a white dude, so we know Norville is adopted. I don't know if that's the case with him in the original Scooby-Doo cartoons, but this, remember folks, is Mindy Kaling's version of that beloved Hanna-Barbera franchise. So she can take carte blanche and do whatever she wants. And I gotta say, so far, the payoff is absolutely going nowhere. It is god-awful, this show. I'm not that far from gouging my own eyes out, but I guess if I don't do that, I won't be able to appreciate hot women. And you'll understand why I've said that when I get to episode 4. So really, episode 3 is about, oh my God, yes, oh God, there's this whole thing about vulnerable women and they have to defend themselves. And we get like a Mickey take, a pistache spoof of Cobra Kai where Daphne goes up against Velma. It is so plainly unfunny, unoriginal, uninspired. You just have to wonder why this show even exists. So a lot of episode 3 is about the fact that Daphne's lesbian mums, we saw them last week, I actually forgot they were her mums. There's a joke made about the fact that she was raised and baptized on the Ellen DeGeneres show, so what a big surprise there. There's also messages about male toxicity yet again. I mean, does that ever get tired? Apparently, according to Mindy Kaling, no it doesn't, it's here to stay.
Because I only have $50 in the budget to combat centuries of toxic masculinity.
Also, at the beginning of this episode, it is such a strange image of Velma sat with her father, and she gets up and leaves him still in her underwear and the slightly low cut top. Like, what daughter would sit in front of a respectable lawyer father dressed like that? It is a weird image to behold. Also, I've noticed that some of the female characters' animated noses have been drawn to look like pig snouts. So what is the messaging there? That to make them less hot, you've got to give them a... It is the oddest thing I've ever seen. It's the weirdest thing. And also reinforcing stereotypes, which this show very well succeeds at. You have this fight between Daphne and Velma, and Daphne lets loose with a kung fu kick. So is this a reinforcing stereotype that Asians are automatically assumed to know martial arts? Do you see where I'm coming from with this? It is so bizarre. Now, there is a revelation or a reveal. It's not nothing about this show is revelation, except it's so god-awfully bad. I mean, I can't say any more than that right now, but we do learn a little factoid about Norville's father, that he may be an escaped lunatic from the Crystal Cove Asylum for the mentally deranged, because he's at a high school with students who are below the age of 18 as a mental health therapist, which is bizarre beyond belief, because as he admits in the episode, he left without actually qualifying for the role. And there's this very unfunny joke about if you wear a therapist cardigan, people automatically believe everything you say. My God, if you think white men weren't vilified already, it gets so much more worse in this one. And it's all about the self-insert of Mindy Kaling. It starts off with her being the obnoxious, unattractive, dumpy, frumpy school kid who didn't fit in with others. Are you trying to tell me, Mindy, that was actually you in real life? Oh, are we going to get an autobiography at some time in the future? Will it outsell Prince Harry's Speed? Oh, I don't know. Is it Speed or Space? It's Space, isn't it? Oh, I don't care. At this moment in time, I just want Prince Harry and that idiot wife of his to be catapulted, jettisoned into space, into a black hole, never to return to Earth ever again. Hurrah! All cheering me, kids. Hurrah! You talk about the misrepresentation of women, supposedly, in entertainment. I know, you got the hypocrisy with Jeff Bezos and Amazon, how they're all about diversity and inclusion, but go to Twitch, which is owned by Amazon, big-breasted mamas everywhere. And here we have schoolgirls at a high school, and the whole thing is now this murderer who's going around lobotomizing young, hot women. That's exactly the reason why, because apparently they're hot and they're going to be automatically targeted.
Yeah, we're calling it the Crystal Cove Hope Initiative.
If you kind of cast your mind to real world events, yeah, women have a big problem with that, because, yeah, I'm not going to say it here, but that's why this joke is just unfunny. And to empower the women, we have to get an unattractive muggo like Velma to take the very attractive girls at Crystal Cove High School and uglify them. I mean, it's that bad. And just to perpetuate that white man is bad and a pervert, and let's face it, all men to a certain degree are bad, perverted individuals if they were raised wrong by their parents. And again, white male toxicity is the prevailing message in this episode.
Wait, so a couple of middle-aged white dudes are gonna decide which of us are hottest?
I do not need a 40-year-old white dude to tell me what didn't work for him about A Wrinkle in Time. It wasn't made for him.
So I'm guessing, Mindy Kaling, you may have been taking orders from men in your life, and now you're done with it, because the new breed of woman, folks, it's no longer the woman who wants to get the vote or the woman who wants to go to work and earn her own paycheck. No, folks, today's woman is the lady who wants to be singular. No man in her life, because she can get by as the matriarchy supreme and do what the hell she wants. There's the dig at white men, white women, white whoever is absolutely stupid. Now, there is a joke that pops up in here much later on where Velma is in traffic with her stepmom and she's dressed, well, rather dubiously. Now, you can look at the attire and you might think she's actually, how can we say, looking like a trans person, a pride person, people of the Rainbow Brigade variety. That's what it came across to me as, because she wants to dress in a way that she can understand other women who are going through a hard time. It is such a weird, mixed message. Now, if my interpretation of that scene is incorrect, then so be it. But again, you can have an opinion, and if you can back it up with some actual facts, like Barbara Houghton at Southern College once told me, then it's not entirely a wrong opinion. It is what you based on the things that you've seen in front of you. And obviously, that image of Velma looking like one of the LGBT mafia was a bit of a misfire, I have to say. And again, the prevailing message of, well, if you're attractive, it's your fault that you get murdered is a big no-no. Why is HBO Max even supporting shit content like this? I don't understand the logic. They've got plenty of money. They could be spending it on original content, some based, very funny, politically incorrect content. But you know what? We're not going to get that, are we? Because you just can't do that in this day and age, because some people are too sensitive. There's this whole thing about Fred. He gets released from prison. Well, actually, he breaks out. He's given his book by Velma called The Female or the Feminine Mystique. He misunderstands it as being Mystique, the X-Man character, and it's a debate about whether Rebecca Romijn or Jennifer Lawrence is the hotter Mystique. Well, you know my answer to that already. It's Rebecca forever, every day. Just someone punch Jennifer Lawrence in the nose, because again, Rebecca Romijn has standards. She never slept with Harvey Weinstein. Jennifer, just saying. I cannot fathom why this show exists. I really don't know. Someone in my comment section asked me what's worse, Santa Rink or Velma. Santa Rink is definitely the worst because it just goes out of its way to offend you. With Velma, it just goes out of its way to prove one thing and one thing once and for all. It just reinforces the fact that there aren't many funny women out there. I mean, Tina Fey is still one of my all-time funny women. She can be hot, actually, when the occasion calls for it, but she knows her boundaries, Tina Fey. She's not out there to prove that she's a funny woman. She's naturally funny. You know what? I think it's a therapy session for Mindy Kaling. I believe this whole Velma vehicle is her excuse for therapy. I'm not going to sit down in front of Oprah and tell her my stories. I'm just going to put it in the form of animation, and hopefully people might be too stupid not to actually read between the lines. Now, at the end of episode 4, Gigi is revealed. Scooby isn't mentioned, but wait until next week. I think something's going to drop about that. The word Scooby might be dropped in terms of maybe a nickname. That might be, it could be a nickname that's given to her, or it might be something that's said in passing. I don't know. But I think it's going to be a nickname that she gets because Norville bumps into her. He knows already that he can't kiss Velma without her consent. Believe it or not, that is actually a comment that is made in this episode. Wow. I'm also beginning to think Mindy Kaling wasn't very much pursued as a girl at high school, college, whatever. No guy found her attractive. I'm guessing she's putting out all her issues and her woes in this series. Let the heartache begin. The Hollywood elite are getting more narcissistic as this day gets older. But again, there is a moment in this episode 4 where a bunch of very hot girls at high school are dressed very provocatively in certain types of outfits, and I bet if I was to show that, even a still image, I would get age restricted. So I'm just describing it to you. You can watch the episode, you can agree or disagree with me as you like, but one thing we can all agree on, folks, Velma is absolute dog shit, and I hope it continues. If you enjoyed this video today, do me 2 favors, maybe like the video, maybe subscribe, and maybe rounding off the number to an almighty 3, you could probably let a comment off below in the box. So on that one, if I were you and if you were me, I'll catch you on the next video.
Not hot like you, Velma.
Wait, so you're saying I get to actually release these girls from the shackles of the male gaze?
Exactly.